Welcome to In Real Time, where we as Heights Church are inviting you in for real conversations about leading people, organizations, and change in the new normal. We're hoping that our real discussions about our church's journey will help you as you reimagine and rebuild yours. Well, hello and welcome to In Real Time. We're going to have some fun today. And if you are, new to us, we'd love for you to hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button and also the bell notification so you don't miss one episode. And tell 49 of your closest friends because I know they'd find this really helpful too. Well, I've got a great topic today, but before I introduce that, we have two co-hosts with us. So why don't you two introduce yourselves?
Well, thank you. My name is Ryan, and I'm the worship pastor here at Heights Church.
And I am Bronson. I'm the student ministry pastor here.
And you are wearing King's gear again.
It's that season. It's that time of year,
ready
baby.
to light the beam again.
Light that beam.
You know what? I don't know that I ever see you
like
without
Sabonis.
King's gear on.
I went through a season in my life where I realized there were some things that were conflicting with it. You know, where I had to put away the King's gear. And then I feel like the Lord said, you can wear it again.
The Lord told you.
The Lord said, wow.
Okay, all right.
That's another
Sounds
podcast.
Good. Sounds good. Well, what is our topic today? We got a good one. This is a good how-to.
Talking about service planning.
Service planning, which right now, if you're listening to this, you're thinking, oh, man, come on. Let me tell you, this is a topic
important.
you need to stay tuned for.
Yep.
So here's my experience with service planning.
Okay.
I've been a part of 4 different churches. And at the other 3, I can tell you that we either never talked about it and there was 2 people who just did it, or it literally happened 15 minutes before service started. And we're doing it in the hallway. And you're like, literally like, okay, here's what we're doing. You do the offering. You have the prayer. You introduce so-and-so. You're going to close us out. And it's all happening 15 minutes before.
Man.
Yeah.
And we're talking about a large church. The other places, we literally never talked about it except for the senior leader and the worship pastor. And that was it. Even though we were in the service, we were just told what to do pretty much right before we were walking through the doors. And honestly, when we came here, I didn't know what to do. I didn't even really have much to think about it because I never really did think about it. So I'll be honest, it was 15 minutes before. That's how we were doing it. And guess what? It's not a good system. It's
So you
terrible.
You didn't like it.
I didn't like it at all. And I'll tell you what, it didn't set anyone up for success. It just didn't. Yeah. And so that's the goal of this. Yeah. So we talk about service planning. Should you do it? It doesn't matter what size of a church you are. Right. You need to be doing service planning, and you need to have everybody involved in the room, because I promise you, there's going to be questions.
Exactly.
And you need to set people up for success so they know what they're doing and what they're transitioning to in the next moment.
Right.
So that they can hit the goal, right? That's important.
Yep.
And so we want to do that, and we do that. So that's why I have you two here, because you do service planning every week. Obviously, student ministries, you're planning 2 separate events at least every week.
Yep.
And then obviously you have our weekend services as well, along with any events that are going on with men's, women's, and then other
Christmas,
things.
holidays.
So a lot there. So let's dig into it. I got some questions to ask you too.
Yeah.
All right. So first of all, tell us about your process. Let's talk about the day that you do it.
Yeah.
And let's just talk about that first of all. The day you do it, and who are you gathering in for that meeting? Because I know you have a meeting.
Yeah, no. For us, I have a lot of part-time on staff. So I try to, we figured out really early that Tuesday mornings are the best days for us. It's the time where I'm with everyone that's on my staff, paid staff. And we sit together around either this table or a coffee shop, and we ask ourselves the real big questions. Like, we go into detail, like how did last weekend feel? What were some things that didn't work? What were some things that did work? That's the meeting where a lot of the vision casting, a lot of the behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know about takes place. So Tuesdays, and then it on 1 p.m. on Tuesdays, we sit together with a majority of the staff, ranging from communications to yourself, to some of the pastors on staff, because we have to divvy out, okay, who's doing offering, who are the announcement piece, and we always have like, oh, there's communion this Sunday, who's doing that?
Right.
So Tuesdays seem to be a good day for us, because Mondays, we're in meetings all day. So,
it's good. And we talk about the theme of the service, because we're in a series. And my message needs to be, I don't have it completely dialed in, obviously, on Tuesdays. I'm working on it through the week, but I have my topic. I know where I'm going with it.
Right.
I know the heart of it, and you need to know that. Because it's going to help in that service planning meeting for all these things to coordinate together, because they are. The prayer is connected to the communion piece, to the songs you sing, and all those things are important to know. So we bring it all to that meeting, and we have like probably 8-9 people in this room.
Oh, it's around this actual same table. It's around this table.
It's
filled
good.
to the brim.
Okay, no, that's good. And then so you do that on Tuesdays, and why Tuesday, not Wednesday?
Again, it's early in the week, so better. And plus, my team, that just seems to be the time of the day and week where it just makes sense to do it. So everyone's schedules just align up on Tuesday mornings, and we just want to get it done. Okay. And also, I don't know if we want to get into it now, but again, I have to consider everyone else's schedules.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
So your schedule, importantly, Josh's schedule,
Our production guy.
Exactly. We have deadlines.
Yeah.
So a church our size, if we don't have deadlines, then how do we know if things are getting done? How do we know if things are getting planned accordingly? My admin, who also happens to be my wife, my hot smoking wife, she sets a schedule aside of who does hosts.
He did. He said it. He said it.
I said
smoking?
That was awesome.
No.
Smoking.
But she sets the schedule for hosts, for the offering piece, for the, there's a lot of things that need to be done, again, behind the scenes in order for the 1 p.m. meeting to be fruitful, if you think about it.
It's good. Yeah.
So, we
a lot of people involved in the whole
Exactly. But if you notice, we usually talk about the big things at the 1 p.m. service planning meeting. We don't talk about who's leading what, what arrangement are we doing of what song. Like that's the worship and production team. That's our job to figure that out. Who do we have scheduled? Is there a conflict in the schedule? Just again, things that a lot of you guys don't really care for.
And I should not be bringing input to that, because I know nothing about it.
Because I know how to sing in a different key.
And you know what though? Everything harmonizes with each other. If you think about it, if you ever go to a crowd, if you ever listen to a crowd at a concert, everyone's singing off key to some degree for the most part, but it all harmonizes together. It all works. It's weird how that works out.
That is weird how that works out.
But anyway, so 1 p.m., service is really just to make sure everyone's in the same loop.
Okay.
And, again, I got to be considerate of everyone else's schedules. So
it's good.
Josh, he has a need where Thursday mornings he wants to program everything and be ready for Sunday, because Sunday morning can be stressful when you have a lot of tech things that are breaking down on you.
Nothing ever goes right.
Nothing, dude, let me tell you, there have been some Sundays where if we weren't prepped, knowing what to do and what songs were coming in, we were doing and stuff like that. Or, if Josh didn't have everything programmed, oh man, we would have been just hosed, honestly. So again, just honoring each other, knowing what each other needs. That's important. And that's something that, I would encourage, if you're a worship pastor listening to this, be considerate of that. It's not just about you. I know we all like to make ourselves feel like we're the big feeler types, but we also need to be diligent in our approach. So
I'm pretty sure the Lord can lead on Tuesday just as well as he can lead on Thursday.
Exactly. And again,
or 15 minutes before the service.
That's a great point. Again, I don't think there's one way of doing this correctly. I think it just has to line up with your culture. And with our culture, we just approach it from a more diligent standpoint.
When there's a lot of people to inform and make sure they're on the same page and get their clarity. There's a lot there.
And
good.
Those meetings really set up Sundays to go well. And because I think about the pre-service meeting on Sundays that still happen, even though we have the Tuesday meeting on Sunday morning before first service, because we've met earlier in the week. That service is just like reminders. It's smooth. Let's pray. Let's lead people into the presence of God. And it just like projects and catapults everything at a much higher like velocity.
I agree.
It's so unique.
Everybody knows where we're going, what we're doing. I know Josh, when he does that at the pre-service meeting on Sunday mornings at 8:40, just like this last week, we were inserting that prayer for Israel. It's when you have one thing that's going to shift or change, or you have a question about it, it's okay because everything else is already set.
Right.
But if you have to create it, no, it's not a good idea.
Not at all.
No. So that's excellent. Okay.
It's interesting that you bring that up because a lot of people, they'll say, well, just be led by the Spirit. Yeah, you do. You want to be led by the Spirit.
That's right.
But you will actually have more freedom with the more structure and placeholders you have.
Yes.
So, speaking of the Sunday, it was interesting that you brought that up. There was that whole prayer piece for Israel that you were wanting to do.
Right.
But after our last song, we, in my spirit, I just felt like I needed to lead them into this moment of like receiving, the Holy Spirit as truth, as the living water.
Yeah.
And you were backstage, and you want to share what was going through your mind, because it's interesting how we were both aligned without even knowing it.
Yeah.
But we were able to have that clarity because we were all on the same page with what was going on Sunday.
So I'll say one thing about it. I was off. So what happens is I come up onto the stage. I sit over by the drums on a stool, and I just wait till Ryan's done. Then I come up, and we'll start the message. But I know for this week, I was I knew I was going to be doing the prayer for Israel.
Yeah.
And then, but how the song was ending, I was thinking to myself, wait, we're going to end in a very different place than where I need to start. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, how am I going to get to the prayer for Israel from where this song is going to end? And by that, I mean, the song had really taken us to that place where you were just saying, it was, we're hungry, we're thirsty for the things of God, which is a good message, but it's a little different nuanced than what I was meaning to do with Israel's prayer. So I'm sitting over there and I'm thinking, Lord, how am I going to do it? And then I thought, oh Lord, I really am just praying that Ryan's going to pick this up. And the next thing I know, you speak right into the moment and you do pick up that moment, and then you led us in prayer. And what I love about that is because we planned and we have given permission. You and I know, we have an understanding that you can do that. And that if you feel led to lead in a prayer at that moment, then you should. And I want you to. And so you did. And I just love how that all came together. So when I came up, it flowed so perfectly. So, and then after first service, we met to make sure that we were on the same page for the second service. Because we always meet to see if there's any changes, because sometimes there is.
So for clarity, for people listening, in between first and second, you guys have another meeting.
Absolutely.
We do. We just touch base 2-3 minutes.
And who's included on that?
Well, it's typically me and Ryan.
And sometimes Tim or Pastor Tim or Justin.
Yeah.
Whoever's around.
Around.
Ask them how it felt and what worked and what didn't.
Right. Yeah. And he's just checking in with me. I'm just checking in with it. Because sometimes a couple of weeks ago, I came up early on a song. Because I didn't know
that's the best,
he was
isn't it?
Reprise it.
It just feels so awkward. That happened to us on Wednesday. I got the nod, and in my head, I'm like, okay, that's my moment. Or not my moment, but anyway.
So second service, I waited. I didn't know. He turns to look at the drums, and I'm thinking he's giving me the signal. Right? No, not at all. No, that's funny.
But it's interesting. Again, I want to challenge those who are listening in. Maybe you don't see much of a value to this, meaning you just see it as like, okay, let's just quickly touch base and go with it, right? Go with the flow. Again, the amount of excellence you pour into your planning. I tell my team all the time, we're not trying to hype ourselves into Sunday. I'm not about the hype culture. I'm not about the hype church culture. I'm about staying grounded. I'm about staying in the Word, staying in God's presence week in and week out. Again, the amount of detail and excellence you put into the planning is going to reflect what happens on Sunday. I can't stress that enough.
It's good.
Again, it just works that way. I don't know. Again, don't be surprised if Sundays are not really connecting with your people. And I'm not saying like, they're, emotionally being driven. I'm talking like they're just not connecting, or it's not the moments you're planning for fall flat. Don't be surprised if that happens. if you're not putting in the work week in and week out to build for those moments. So
that's right. Yeah. Because when you plan, you're creating clarity for the whole team.
Exactly.
And you're actually creating space to be free in.
Exactly.
Just like you have a few minutes in that service where if you want to take it a little longer, you can.
Yeah.
You want to cut it off a little shorter, you can.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You have that freedom,
right?
Because we planned well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You were going to say something.
I was going to say you're also then being responsible with your time, your talents, and your treasures.
Yeah.
The team that God's given you to, you're respecting their time, their talents, and their treasures.
That's true.
When you're planning these things, you're allowing these things. I think it's important that as leaders, we recognize that we're using what we're given, 1, 3, or 5. We're using those appropriately.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's good. Let's shift gears for a moment here, Bronson, when it comes to student ministries, because I know we've been talking about really weekend services here, but your process is, I would think, similar. But why don't you talk to us about this? Because I think, again, I was a student ministries pastor, and I learned well. I did my planning 15 minutes before the service started, and I got the result that I was putting in. When I look back on it now, it's embarrassing, but I'm going to say it because that's just the reality, the good, bad, and the ugly. And it could have been way better. But I didn't know any different. And you don't learn this in school.
Yeah.
And of course, my pastor, he learned it from his pastor. So this is what we were doing. But you're doing something different. So talk to us about what's working for you, service planning.
Yeah. And just so we can understand all that goes on, because maybe there's a youth pastor listening to this and they're feeling like they don't understand all the work that I put in. It's just me. You've got a Wednesday night high school night, a Wednesday night what we call house parties, which are our life groups, which we have 4 going on either in town or on campus, all on Wednesday night. And then on Sunday, we have our main junior high service. And then on top of that, a high school hangout on Sunday mornings. That's all happening at the same time. And myself, I'm the only student ministries person on staff here, making sure that's all happening. And that's impossible if I wasn't planning and using my time properly and empowering my team. So one thing that I always hear from student ministry guys are, man, I just don't feel like my team is really a part of it. And I'm like, well, how much are you planning with your team? How much is your team bought in? And that's the importance that I want to make sure I'm communicating before we get into this process to youth pastors and maybe even other pastors. How much are you empowering your team in order to get more buy-in and then make things flow smoothly? So our process is pretty extensive. On Monday, we have our normal staff meeting here at church, but then right after, it's actually my favorite meeting of the week, and hopefully I don't get jammed up for that afterwards, but I take time. There is 2 of my lead junior high people and an admin who admins for a handful of us here who's a part of it, taking notes, all that stuff. And we start by reviewing what happened and what went on. So those are the people that were there.
In the past week.
In the past week. We review what happened on Sunday and on Wednesdays, what was missed, all of those things. That's where we do our sermon planning to make sure we're staying on track. Maybe not in its entirety, but service planning itself always includes, hey, is what we're talking about here on Wednesday or Sunday threaded throughout our entire service? And we ask our whole team that. And they say yes or no, because if it's not, we're missing the mark. We want to make sure the theme, the topic is threaded throughout the entire thing. So Mondays at 1 o'clock, I meet with them, and it's my favorite meeting. It usually opens with like a few jokes about maybe something that happened, and then it starts to immediately shift into like, here's some things that went really well. We always talk about the highs and the lows off the bat because it helps us navigate what's most important next. If there's big issues, we need to tackle those right now. And so every week we do that on Mondays. Right there, we schedule who's doing what, like you said, who's greeting, who's doing check-in, who's setting up, who's tearing down, who's leading the life group. We do all of that planning on Monday. We go through a service flow. Do these songs kind of fit? Is it an acoustic set? Is it a big set? Maybe we don't have worship this week. All of those things. And the reason why that it's so important that we have all these things is we then have to take those people in that room and communicate down to the rest. I would say those are my 2 people, which we talk about a lot. Us, we should have 2 people, and those 2 people should communicate to more. And so they know who and what to where they're communicating it to. That's how it all flows for us. And then I'm just trying to make sure I'm encapsulating all this stuff. So we have that. What I wanted to really communicate, though, is why it's important for student ministry pastors to plan their services out this far in advance, is that it allows for when things don't go according to plan, for you to be able to flex without having a sense of urgency.
That's good.
My first couple of years, if things weren't going to my plan, I'm having a meltdown inside, but keeping it all good on the outside.
I remember that feeling.
Yes. And some of the people who were close to me could see it in my eyes. Yeah. And I think I got a great poker face. And like,
why are you shaking?
Yeah. I'm
Never
like,
mind.
I'm not shaking. What's going on here? But it's funny because those things will never change. Things will always come up. Things will always shift.
Yep.
And I have
So true.
a hilarious example from this Sunday. We are in a series called Compass. We changed our whole service flow up because that's a big part. Is what we're doing working right now?
Yeah.
Is this in the season that it works right now? Like we do our life groups in junior high at the very top. We have an opening. We call it the warm up. There's an activity, 2 quick questions. Then we go to a big game. And then we do announcements, all this stuff.
Okay.
We had a student show up with this thing called the Golden Putter, which is an annual event junior high does. And they go out mini golfing. The best scorer gets a golden putter. It's cool. But the golden putter gets to change the service completely because they get to have a shot at making a putt on a Sunday that gives everybody a pizza party right then and there.
Oh, wow.
We need to do
Okay.
that back at church.
Next week.
Next week. Let's do
We
it.
should plan it.
We should.
Now, there's one caveat, and every student knows this, and every parent of a student that gets dropped off at this event. If your student wins and wants to use it, you need to let us know by Friday that they're going to be there. Well, guess what didn't happen? We had no idea. It's 5 minutes after service starts, and in comes the student with the golden putter.
no.
And I'm like, oh, he's going to use this. And I didn't plan anybody to go get pizza. I haven't made the order. But this kid is expecting, as the entire group of 30-plus junior hires in this room are expecting an opportunity. But because we plan this out, because my leaders know what's going on, because we have a system in play, we knew that we had to just move or eliminate one part and add this in. And nobody even blinked. They were like, it's okay.
Yeah.
We know we're going to cover what's most
good.
important.
Wow.
And so that's why it's important to plan. Because,
Did you get to a pizza party?
well, you know how it is. He missed all 3 opportunities.
Oh.
So Pastor Bronson had to catch one and slam dunk it like he was Shaq, and everybody lost their brains because I'm not going to let $60 worth of pizza go poof from Little
That's
Caesars,
right. That's right.
We're making sure those students are getting some pizza.
Nice.
So
Very
yeah,
good.
that's good
I
stuff.
I wasn't invited to that. That
wasn't
happened
either.
on Sunday morning, and I didn't know anything about it.
I wasn't invited until 5 minutes after service
All right.
started,
That's
so
good. That's
I would
good.
have. Sorry for not inviting you guys.
No, that's good.
I love that, though. That's a lot of planning. It's a lot of activity.
Yeah.
And I love how you're involving your team because it buys ownership from them.
I was just going to say.
They know,
Yep.
hey, I'm matter around here.
Yep.
I'm an
Yep.
owner.
Yep.
This is important.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why those Tuesday afternoon meetings, again, I'm always asking people this question. Anything from this last weekend, did you notice that felt good, felt off? I want people to have ownership.
Yeah.
And also, I think what we also are saying without saying is there is a level of even excellence of the meetings we do have here. I don't want a meeting just to be a meeting. I hate having
drives me
meetings for the
nuts.
sake of having a meeting.
I've been in those meetings.
Yeah.
I
And I get up-
Hey now, I was probably leading that meeting. So
That's
be
not
a little,
true. That's
be
not
nice.
true.
Be nice.
That's not
That's
true.
not true.
But I'm just saying, like, the level of excellence for the meeting matters as well. Like get
Agreed.
to the purpose, get to the big things,
Yeah.
do all the small details prior to those bigger meetings that require vision and quick check points, to be checked off. Again,
Be prepared.
Be prepared is the biggest thing. So
That's really good. Yep. I love that. Well, I think these are hard-won truths and understanding and practices, and we're able to do them now because these are really responses, reactions to failures in the past. Here's what I also know is that there are people who, much like myself, I'm very easygoing, and I've done this long enough where I can say, okay, hey, we're good. We can just do this, this, and this. I can throw it together 15 minutes beforehand. I could do that on a one-off, and it would be okay. But there are, number one, it's a terrible idea because there's a lot of people around you that they're not that good with it. They're not that easy. They don't feel that confident. And honestly, I can see it in my head.
Yeah.
But if I'm doing this 15 minutes ahead, I can guarantee you I have not conveyed the picture or the vision of where
That's good.
I'm wanting to go.
Yeah.
I'm just, we'll just throw it together like it's some, pickup game in the schoolyard.
Right.
That is not a good way to do this.
Not at all.
So you want to set your
terrible.
people up for success. There is a group of people, though, they are planners. And if you don't plan, I promise you, you are frustrating the crud out of them every week, and they do not feel set up for success.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even if it's a prayer, they need a minute to think about it, to get their mind about that topic, and to offer that prayer.
Yep.
And when you do, they will so appreciate it. And so this is good, and it's a good thing for us as the leaders to know this and to make sure we're setting them up for success.
Exactly.
So as we're wrapping this up about service planning, anything else you guys want to add, or do you think we probably covered the basics here?
I'm good.
I would just say maybe more for student ministries or children's ministries, make sure to plan something extra in case main service goes long.
Oh, that's
Because-
a great point.
And this is not
Sometimes that happens around
that
here.
Feels
Not-
like that
it's not-
us right
it's
That
there.
feels
not-
a little personal.
I know.
it's not a
little bit.
shot. It's just the reality. The most important thing going on a Sunday
No, you're
is
right.
Sunday morning service. And so when it comes to, and if you're a youth pastor or children's pastor, you can feel the
Bring that
energy
pizza.
or
Yeah.
shift change.
Yeah.
If your students are just hanging out playing video games.
Yeah.
You have to be ready to add something more in.
Yeah.
That is a great
That is a good
word,
point, man.
Bronson.
Yeah.
That's
we,
true.
we try to tighten up our services a little bit, but
Praise the
Yeah.
Lord for online church though, because I can know I got to add
oh,
something.
that's true. That's how you're checking
there
in.
you go.
Yeah,
That's good.
They
That's
have
good.
not started the song after the message, and
That's
he's not
good.
even praying yet. So I got 15 more minutes at least.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah,
Well, I love it. This is a real conversation about leading people, organization, and change. Service planning. It may sound like a small thing, but it turns out it's
real
huge
big
because
thing.
you're
Yep.
setting your people up for success or not.
Yeah.
Hey, let's make sure that we are.
Yeah.
So I know you like this episode. So hit the like button, subscribe button, and the bell notification so you don't miss an episode, and tell 49 of your friends, because I know this is helpful. So let's get the word out. Okay, you guys, we'll see you next time in real time.